Please welcome Major General Robert E. Wagner.
Good morning. It's a great honor for me to be here today. And I think the United States Army Cadet Command is one of the most important organizations in the Army. It produces the majority of our officer corps. Used to have ROTC in the title. It's not that anymore. It's the United States Army Cadet Command. We don't use the word reserve. Now, I'm not saying bad things about reserves, but we also produce the majority of our regular fighting leadership. Everybody understand that? That's what we do. And thank you, Brother Rat, for that wonderful introduction. This is a great experience for me, the Army's oldest cadet, to address the Army's most outstanding serving cadets, the Marshall Award winners of this year. In the audience today, we have several distinguished soldiers who rank among the finest military leaders in our nation's history, several of which I add here with a touch of historical humor, have demonstrated strong forbearance for your current speaker during my youthful and occasional over-exuberant younger years. And now, cadets, Marshall Award winners, and as the first commanding general of Cadet Command, an event that occurred well over 20 years ago, I salute each and every one of you. Your final grand adventure in Cadet Command Army leadership development as a cadet is almost now behind you. You're about to be the proud commissioned graduates of the toughest leadership development training in the history of our Army. The history of our Army. This experience was tough because the Army requires tough leaders to face the grave challenge that confront our nation. And you will successfully meet these challenges as proven Army officers because of what you have learned here from Cadet Command, and it will stay with you. Your performance over the past Cadet Command years has epitomized what Army officership must be. What Army officership must be. Am I getting through to everybody? Can everybody hear me? This is sincere. What Army officership must be. You must have the right stuff, and by gosh, you have the right stuff. Bold, brave, professional, and dedicated to those values that make our nation great. However, I want to leave you with some thoughts in the extremely relevant context that Cadet Command commissions the majority of the Army Officer Corps. We live in a world of professional jointness. But within this joint arena, the Army remains the operative strategic force. Do we need sea power? Of course, we need to get there, don't we? Right. We also require air superiority. But all cadets and members of our service must study military history. In all our national conflicts, the Army does much of the heavy lifting. The Army does much of the heavy lifting. Hoorah! Got it? Good. Only your service, because of our unique boots-on-the-ground close combat capability, has the capacity to impose our national will and the objectives of our allies on the enemy. The operations currently being conducted in Afghanistan provide an example of this capability that has been apparent throughout our history. And we all have to understand history. Right, sir? Absolutely. When we address our current Army theme, Army Strong, this theme has absolute historical validity. The Army, meaning you, matters. You represent the future leadership of our service. The boots-on-the-ground capability that is absolutely pivotal to national security. All right? Am I getting through? Your world, your professional environment remains a hugely dangerous place, mostly because of international terrorism. I was going to read a list of several trouble spots, but I know you know this as well as I do. I hope so. I also know you will do your duty because of who you will be, commissioned Army officer, and your Cadet Command training. I would add here, be flexible. Our strategic environment demands flexibility. Would you agree? If you're trying something, I was talking at my table with some very mature gentlemen. If you're trying something and it doesn't work, try something else, right? And you've got to be trained to do that. Remember training. The Army either trains or it fights, and it fights only as well as it trains. There's a huge connection between training and combat operations. This function is the living breath of our service. And here I'm not merely addressing simulation and information technology. I mean, on occasion, we must shoot real bullets and conduct actual maneuver exercise that replicate real combat experiences. I pointed out the example at the table this morning. We had a statement, my first tour in Vietnam, bushwhack the bushwhackers. And if these SOBs are trying to get us on obvious roads and bridges and assembly areas, okay, we take a look at those obvious roads, bridges, and assembly areas, and we bushwhack those expletive deleted when they come to do it. You understand that? And we do it. Now that's something you should write down. Remember that? Bushwhack the bushwhackers. Am I getting through to you? Just don't take being bushwhacked. We don't like that, do we? No, we don't like it. Now, and of course, what you got to do is conduct actual training exercises that in fact replicate real combat experiences. And you should be practicing bushwhack the bushwhackers while you're training, correct? Remember the friendships that have been forged by your cadet command experience, particularly during Warrior Forge summer training. The respect that you feel for your cadet battalion's members provides the foundation for the winning team the Army must be. Recall the cadet and soldier creeds. Always remember, honor is my touchstone, right? Understand, and duty first, and people always. And never forget that you are a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. You are an American soldier, and you will lead other American soldiers. Leadership, don't forget that word. Taking care of the people entrusted to your command is a profound officer responsibility. Again, each and every one of you make the Army strong, correct? Correct. Remember your non-commissioned officers. This is a very important point. This is the relationship that makes the Army work. Shortly, many of you will meet the most important person you will probably ever encounter, your first platoon sergeant. Right, elder gentlemen? That's critical. The development of this all-important relationship will exert a strong influence on your professional future, and in a larger sense, the officer, non-commissioned officer leadership nexus of the entire Army. Finally, and this is very important, reflect on the spiritual basis of your commission. In the near future, you will swear to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Understand what that means. Those of us who follow the profession of arms bear a sacred trust to defend those values, that make our nation great. Right? God bless you all, and the best of Army combat luck in participating in the grand adventure that is the United States Army. And remember, Army combat luck, supported by relevant training and moral direction, is unbeatable. And it must always remain unbeatable because the security of our great nation largely depends on your performance. Therefore, train to lead and train to win. Group, hands, hut! All right, I want a final hua. And understand what hua means. That's success and ambition for all battles we face. And please remember what I said. Can you do that? All right. On three. I want a record here. 1, hip, hip. Thank you very much.